Okay, there's our pattern.
Our basic outline. It needs obviously some work. So we're working on the pattern after we kind of cast off the pattern from the actual thing. So what I want to do is add another 1/2 inch onto it so we can have a clean finished edge on the underside instead of leaving it raw like they originally made it. So I added on a 1/2 inch. This line here represents the finished edge, like all of this will fold under. This folds under, gets stitched, this folds under, gets stitched, and here's a stitch line you'll see from the top. And we found grommets that aren't exactly the same size as the ones on the original, but we think that they will still fit. And so the chain will sit right here inside that little flap, and I think we still have enough room with the stitch line not to be worried about it. So I got the fabric we're going to use, and I gave it a little pre-shrink, a little ironing with some steam. And even though this isn't usually the way you make a pattern with the whole thing, usually you do it on the fold. Since I accidentally made it this way, I'm just going to cut it out this way. So right now I'm lining up the grain because if you know anything about sewing, you need to line up with the grain so things don't get wonky. So I was just double checking, and since it's canvas, it's really easy to see the lines in it and make sure it's pretty straight. Next thing is to pin it all down while keeping it weighted down, cut it out, and mark where we want to put, well, we discussed where we're going to put the grommets. We're not 100% sure on the placement because when we measured the old one, they are not evenly spaced. So we're going to place the 8 crucial ones first and then look at the other ones. So we can mark out where there's, we're going to go and start sewing.
All right, so the chain is still pretty rusty after soaking, but a few hits with this brush, it gets in like this. In which case, it's not great, but it's much better than this. So that's a pretty good result. I think we're gonna be good with that and use the original chain.
Hello. I am putting in the chain. So I painstakingly, well, first of all, I made my clean edge. So you can see I just folded over a 1/2 inch and stitched it. Looking good, right? Then I went through and ironed down our 1.5 inch seam allowance that's left and pinned it into place, which is a little bit annoying, but I wanted to make sure that it all looked right. And we made the tucks in the corner to help with the extra there. And now I'm just going through, pulling out the pins, putting the chain in place, and then putting the pins back so I can sew it. And I did this in kind of a crazy way, but that's what I did. So then we're gonna stitch, and I wrote it down somewhere, but stitch into this, and then we're going to try putting in the grommets, but we're going to practice first because neither one of us really knows what we're doing. So let's talk about this chain a little bit. First of all, Ben and I thought this was super crazy. We aren't very familiar with outdoor furniture construction or indoor furniture construction, so when we found the chain, we're like, that's pretty weird. And now as I'm putting it in, I'm realizing what I kind of realized when we were pulling it out of the old cover is that it's shorter than the circumference around of the cover. So when I'm sewing it, I'm going to have to kind of go section by section and smooth it out. And hopefully this helps start giving it its natural shape it needs to Barwa in. So wish us luck because I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm sure it will be fine.
And getting the grommets in the right places proved more difficult than we had thought. We did the initial stretching this over the frame. It's going to work, but I think we realized that while stitching the chain and we moved some pins that we thought were in the right place and didn't go back and remeasure. So some of the grommets are, I'm getting nods from Amanda, that's a good sign.
We did that.
So with that said, we think it's still gonna be able to make it work, and we've gone back and kind of readjusted. It'll fit on one way on the frame.
The holes are as good as we could get them. We had to just commit, so we committed. YOLO. We're gonna see if it works.
Whew. Okay, we got the springs on, and it is looking good. The only thing that didn't come out quite as we expected, I mean, you can see some of these are not perfectly straight, but you know what? It's straight enough to where I don't really care. This is the one that I don't know if it's going to be problematic when we sit on it. We may have to put extra grommets here because this spring should be to the left of it, yeah, ahead of it. So let's see. We're going to flip it over though. Amanda is going to try it. Okay, we'll spin it around. Look at that.
Pretty good.
This is the first time we've seen it.
It's not perfect.
Yeah, but that's so much better than it was. What do you think? That looks great.
Not bad.
All right, try it. I'm curious to see if you feel the spring when you sit on it. Oh, look at her reclining. A revolution in relaxation.
I
Isn't it?
can feel the spring.
You can?
It's not like uncomfortable, but we should probably move it. And there's something. Oh, that's just the frame, I think.
Yeah, that's where they come together. The arms come together. Mm-hmm. Okay, is it good? Are you exhausted? How many hours have we worked on this today?
All day.
But it's done. Almost done.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah, I do.